I may not have created these design styles, but they're still le chic. Hey there, hi, welcome to the channel. I am Garrett, and in this video, we are talking about some of the most popular interior design styles of 2022. I'm getting into them, I'm breaking them down, I am sharing their history and how to get them, incorporate them into your space. We are taking a deep dive and have got a lot to get through, so let's get into the video. The first style we are talking about is actually Regency. Why is that, you ask? Because Bridgerton. Everyone loves it, it's beautiful, it's fabulous, we all love the sets and the design. The Regency style is really beautiful for a lot of reasons, the first of which being, I like it. Regency is really fantastic because it incorporated a lot of detail, a lot of character, but it actually is very bright and light and fresh, but has a lot of grandeur to it, which is also really fun. I think this style is great to incorporate into a space through color and through some furniture pieces. It's also really easy to apply moldings to your wall to mimic this kind of look that is going on. We saw a lot of like damasks and brocades in pastel silks, which I adore, love that, but I don't think you necessarily have to have a wallpaper to make this style work in your space. You could just pick a very fresh spring-like color, kind of like my little turtleneck here, which will be linked in the description box. But one thing I think a lot of people overlook when it comes to Regency style is actually the furniture and the wood tones themselves. There's a lot of parquet and marquetry used, which is beautiful, but then the wood furniture itself actually had incredibly delicate lines, but was dark wood. I think Regency is so beautiful, and I love the clothes, I love the period, I love the floral arrangements and the detailing. The mirrors from this period are actually very popular. A lot of people really like these gilt and ornate mirrors. That's something worth looking into if you really like the style. You all know I actually collect Jasperware from Wedgwood, which is really beautiful and definitely is indicative of this style. I absolutely adore Regency era design, and I think it's something that's really fun to incorporate into your home if you are looking to add a little bit of that timeless design and elegance to a space, but you don't necessarily want the bulk that can often come with a more traditional piece of furniture. The next style is actually one you all ask me about so often that I had to address, and that is Transitional. This style definitely gets lumped in with eclectic design because a lot of people are like, oh, you mix different styles, modern and traditional together, and it is actually the complete opposite. This is transitional, a transition. Pieces in this style are specifically designed to be both modern and traditional. They may have a more modern line with a more traditional fabric or upholstery method, like tufting, or they maybe are more traditional in shape or inspired by traditional pieces, but then there is a modern twist on them. This style also has a very, very strong consistency in the color palette. It's not matchy or replicated tones, but there is a strong consistency where you might have a very modern piece of artwork that incorporates some of the similar color patterns as the cushions on your sofa or the rug. This creates a really seamless flow, and it actually has a very methodical look to the design, and there is a methodical process to designing one of these spaces. A lot of the wood tones are very, very similar, and you may have a very traditional architecturally designed space. Details, features like built-ins, moldings, crown moldings, fireplaces and mantles, but then more modern furniture, tables and chairs. I really like this style for new homes that are being built because it definitely aligns with them and it fits into a lot of different architectural styles. Something really great about this is that it is not redefining the wheel. It's just having something that's super classic and timeless that I don't personally think will ever be dated. We see this from 5, 6, 7, 10 years ago, and it still looks like transitional design that's happening today because it definitely is. Combining traditional design elements with modern design elements inherently means that it is a timeless style that will always look fresh and clean. The next style we're talking about is the biggest, most popular thing happening right now, and that is postmodern. I feel like nobody has addressed where this came from and its origins, where it was inspired by. So let's dive into it, because postmodern is actually something very, very popular with millennials, especially because it's very nostalgic for us. Because postmodern was actually one of the most popular architectural styles and design styles for industrial or commercial spaces, because it was really accessible, really affordable, easy to build because it's not super detailed. It's more a focus on geometric shapes and clean lines. I want you to think of like that mall with the teal banisters and railings. I want you to think of like a movie theater and arcade. You know, the ones that have the carpet with like the squiggly line on the triangle, and then there's like a square, and you know, it's got the primary colors on a black background. That is postmodern. Like I said, very nostalgic from my childhood. And this was a very popular style for malls, for arcades and movie theaters, even theme parks. Everywhere had this because it was accessible. So many of the materials used are very inexpensive, are very cheap, and can be done at large scale. This style also became very popular for tract-built homes because one of the hallmark features is drywall. It's just flat drywall everywhere. Maybe not even flat, maybe it's textured, but drywall banisters and bump outs, cutouts, niches and recesses. Drywall everything. And you all know postmodern lovers are going to have that square white ceramic tile with the black grout that I think looks like a gas station floor, but that's also because gas stations were styled after this, and that's what it is. I mean, I love that for you if you love the gas station vibe in your home. I'm not the one. Think like Mugler suits and geometric shapes. That is postmodern and why it's so popular. Now, it does get fused with a lot of the 1970s modern style and pieces because they were kind of becoming so much more available in the 80s and flowing into the 90s. So we see a lot of that overlap happening, but it is very different in itself. I like postmodern, and if you want to incorporate this into your space, look for primary colors, geometric shapes, you know, that kind of vintage IKEA squiggle mirror. Very postmodern. Think glass block and drywall cutouts and bump outs that are painted in different contrasting tones. That is very, very postmodern. Something very cool, very interesting, and worth considering if you like it, because do I think it will be timeless forever? Maybe, maybe not, but I do think it's a super iconic style that's very nostalgic for millennials. You all know I don't just talk about my personal style, I talk about all interior design styles because that's what we do on this channel, which is why if you haven't already, you should take a moment and hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell notification to get notified every time I upload, because I am uploading 2 interior design videos every week all about interior design ideas and features and things you can add to your home now. And let's be real, you all know I'm not the one that's gonna waste your time just trying to sell you things you don't need. After you have subscribed, be sure you let me know in the comment section down below so I can personally welcome you to the channel. Now, the next interior design style we're talking about is Grand Millennial. This became very popular for a lot of reasons, most of which are it was accessible and affordable, and people were just looking for a change and looking to get out of modern design into something different. I love Grand Millennial, and right now we are lumping kind of all traditional styles together and saying they're Grand Millennial. We have yet to see these really specific niches pop out of this, but we are seeing a lot of people that love modern styles dip into it. I think that's great. What is Grand Millennial? A lot of people look at it and they kind of think it's cottagecore, they kind of think it's grandma chic. For me, it's definitely a modern take on more traditional styles. You'll see wallpapers and patterns mixed with deeper and moodier painted tones and fabric options. A lot of rich texture, beautiful layers are happening in that more traditional sphere of design. This is also a really great style if you live in an area with a lot of vintage, a lot of antiques where people are selling them, because you can go to resale, thrift stores, garage sales even, and find a lot of really, really cool stuff that people are just moving on from that will fit this style. That's always a really eco-friendly way of designing your home. It's more sustainable than just buying everything new, and I love that. If you want Grand Millennial in your space, look for some patterns. Maybe that's curtains or wallpapers. Maybe it's just throw pillows or vintage rugs. bring those into your space and layer some different patterns together to start to build that more traditional, very comfortable and cozy feeling in the space. Experiment with colors though. Don't just opt for like, this is classic, let's go for that. Look for some really rich, moody tones that are just unexpected. That always makes a space look and feel luxurious, and it's gonna make it feel like completely different than anything you've seen before. I'm also a huge fan of beautiful wood tones. So look for some flame mahoganies and some burl woods to layer and bring in and accent pieces. I think that is just next level. Mix wood tones together. This is a great style for those of you that are looking to build a little bit more detail into your space, but you like to be in that more traditional sphere of design. The next style we are talking about is definitely one of the biggest popular styles of 2022, and that is 1970s Italian modern. Why do I say that specifically? Because that's basically what it is. A lot of people are loving a lot of these iconic upholstered pieces from the 1970s that primarily are coming out of Italy. I think that these are beautiful. The chairs, the sofas, all of this is really gorgeous. What we are seeing people do in their spaces is layer this all in neutrals. So we'll bring in some browns, we'll bring in a lot of ecrues and creams and layer them together. Now the 1970s had a lot of brown, and a lot of you do not like brown. That's okay, I love brown. But I don't live in your house and you don't live in mine, so that's fine. But I think the good part about what we are seeing now is that we're not just doing brown on brown on brown. We're doing like brown, ecru, and cream, and then there might be a little accent of a deep green tone or maybe a burnt orange. Feels very neutral, feels very sumptuous, and I like that because the 70s had a really cool kind of swanky funk to it, and this is really cool to incorporate into your space if you like this style. Now, I think this is really great. Do I think this will be timeless forever? Maybe, maybe not. I think people will move on from a lot of the very neutral everything into a little bit more color in their space, which I'm happy about and I'm excited to see. I love when people push their own boundaries and create something interesting within their space. That's personality. So be sure you're not just saying like, that's cool, I saw it on social media, because this is the biggest popular style on social media right now. Don't just copy what you are seeing. If you like a style of sofa, look for it in a unique color, look for an alternative idea or option to a more iconic piece. That's a great way to make the space a little bit more individual and have a little bit more of your personality into it. Maybe that's a very colorful rug or something to that extent. Maybe it's a pillow or a blanket, a throw or something. Maybe you opt for like mixing brown and navy blue together. That could be really cool. But then again, I just like blue, so I'm kind of partial. I like this style because it could be incorporated into any style of home. It's very neutral, which means you can layer a lot of fun things into it. And I really just like the experience and the texture these spaces have. So it's definitely something worth considering if you like that style, if you are not overly traumatized by the 70s and by the color brown. Love that for you. This is a really fun style worth looking into. The next style we are talking about is actually maximalism. You ask me often enough about this that it's worth addressing. But what I want to say about maximalism is, it is not a specific style. It's neither traditional nor is it modern. It can be both, or it can be neither. The same thing goes for minimalism, which is the opposite of maximalism. These are both ideas and principles to take into design as opposed to just specific styles. If you like very traditional design and you're like, Garrett, I'm a maximalist, I want to have everything. That's a lot of patterns and prints and moodier tones, but everything is kind of covered in something, and you maybe have a library or shelves with books. Love that. I think it's so rich. There's definitely something to take in no matter where you look. But you can also have a very modern style that is a maximalist vibe, okay? You could be that person, you're like, I'm a minimalist, but you have vessels everywhere. You're a maximalist and a vessel collector. I love that for you. But that's not minimalism. Minimalism, however, is a principle about only having the things you need, about being free of physical possessions to allow you to live more freely. I like that. I think it's a beautiful concept and idea, but once again, it can be incorporated into any space. It doesn't just have to be modern style furniture. It doesn't have to be anything you don't want it to be. It's just a principle. The same thing goes for maximalism. I think they're both really interesting design styles and ideas. I don't have the commitment to either of those. I think I need to have my things. I'm like looking around like what in this room could I get rid of to be a minimalist? And the answer is nothing. But I want to hear from my subscribers in the comment section. Is your style closer to a maximalist style or a minimalist style? The next style we are talking about is actually eclectic. I love eclectic design and styles because they're fun and it has a lot of personality to it. However, I think it's important to make the distinction that eclectic design is not just about mixing a bunch of random things together. It's actually a very methodical process to achieve this look. That is really beautiful in my opinion because it looks like a lot of thought went into this style. Because it did. Eclectic design is actually very indicative of that kind of French Parisian apartment vibe. It's very art inspired and it just has so much personality to it that I think it's really beautiful. If I look around my home, it's actually kind of eclectic. I'm sitting on a postmodern style sofa, but then I have a more traditional neoclassic inspired coffee table mixed with vintage rugs and beautiful high contrast colorful artwork. I mix blue and green and white and off-white together. It layers into a space that genuinely feels like me, and I love that. It's not something that you're going to see replicated any and everywhere because this is like from the mind of LeChic, and I love that for me. That's what eclectic should be for you. Take the time to fall in love with pieces and then find something else that it layers together with. Take the time to look for the exact perfect piece, not just a piece that fits or looks good there. Because when you fall into that trap of like filling a space for the sake of filling it, or I need something to go there and I want it done now, you end up with things that you don't genuinely love. You want to love everything and everything should have personality and story to it. But like I said, this is a very thought out style and it is very intentional. So think about what you want in your space. If your space is eclectic, or maybe it's just a mix of styles, that's great too. But having a little bit of eclecticism in your life is gorgeous. I absolutely love that. I adore it. I think it's beautiful to mix and layer things together in a way that maybe they aren't supposed to go together, but they definitely work together in their own unique way. That speaks to personality. And I think that's beautiful. Well, there you have it everyone. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to let me know. Give this video a like and let me know in the comments section what is one interior design style you want to know the history of, you want to know the background on that I did not cover in this video. I also know that you know someone that they are embarking on a renovation, they're making over their space in their house and it's your friend and you want it to look good because nobody wants to go to their friend's house that's ugly and have to pretend like it looks good. Share this video with them so they can get it together because friends help friends. And I will see you in the next one.